If you asked the me from a handful of years ago, never in a million years would I believe you if you told me that I would be sitting here in front of my microphone, hype as all hell, to talk about ReZero Season 2. If you're new here, hey, how's it going? My name is JoJo. I make seasonal anime content every single day, but you may not know that I have a interesting history with ReZero. I'll link a video that I did on my thoughts on ReZero and my complicated relationship with the show, either here in this card or in the comments. I'll leave it as the pinned comment. Needless to say, I have an interesting history with this show, and I'm beyond excited to talk about Season 2. I cannot wait. So without further ado, ladies and gents, let's just go ahead and jump into it. Let the suffering begin. Okay, here we go. It doesn't feel real, does it? It doesn't feel real, like the fact that we're talking about this. Now, I missed out on ReZero because I was a big dumb jerk back then, so I didn't get to talk about the series weekly as it was coming out. I ended up catching up a little while ago. So it's crazy to me that I get to talk about this show weekly with all of you guys. And it doesn't, even though I had less time that I had to wait as opposed to everybody else who watched the show as it was airing, they had like a crazy long wait between Season 1 to Season 2. But even for me, it doesn't feel real that we're talking about Season 2. Like, it's strange to me. Now, mind you, we did have the director's cut a little while ago. And if you didn't watch the director's cut, my God, the intro to this is going to be fascinating. But it pretty much opens with that extra scene from the director's cut. Now, this is pretty much the only scene I think that was added in the director's cut. I think everything else was just like touch-ups and like kind of brushing up little things, certain scenes here and there. There wasn't like an entire scene added in the director's cut until this one that ends the director's cut. And my God, if you didn't see this scene, this must have been like a brutal like wake up. Because for me, I had like been watching the director's cut and I kind of just stopped watching for some reason, just because I was like, okay, I don't think we're gonna get any other scenes. And it was recently enough that I still remembered everything, so I didn't feel as though I needed the refresher. Although knowing me, I am an idiot and I have a crap memory, so maybe I should have. But I had been told that, like, oh no, dude, you at the very least need to watch the last episode. So I was like, okay. And I saw this. So if you haven't seen it, let's talk about it. Who is Rem? Oh! First of all, it was weirdly nostalgic hearing that. But second of all, damn it! Like, can't we just be happy? Like, this killed me, because it's like, oh, the happy ending that was Season 1, it's not actually happy. Like, it immediately picks up with this, like, who's Rem scene, and if you didn't see the director's cut, the face that Subaru makes, that like, oh my God face, that's where it ends. So like, if you saw the director's cut and that was it, like that's the last thing you saw, you had so many questions. For me, I thought like, did the white whale do something? Like, but that doesn't make any sense because it was dead. So like, how? You know, like I had this how that I was carrying with me, this question that was just weighing me down as I waited for Season 2 after seeing the director's cut's finale. So I'm thinking like, what the hell could have happened? We get the answer. I just wasn't prepared for it. But I guess let's talk about it. Now, normally in these videos, or at least not normally, but for the last little bit, I've been going scene by scene, moment by moment. I'm not going to do that because the last few episodes have been pushing like 35 to 40 minutes. So I don't want to talk too much. I know it's in the name, but I do want to keep it a little bit focused. I am still going to go by scene, but I'm not going to hit on every single little detail. I'm just going to talk about the stuff that I really want to talk about. Now, mind you, that's pretty much the whole episode in this case. But still, I'm going to be maybe not mentioning, a few things here and there. I didn't forget it. I probably saw it. It's just that I probably didn't have too much to say about it. Now, that said, we gotta talk about this. We gotta go into this. I am okay. The caravan attack. You know what sucks is that these two were having such a lovely conversation. Like, the characters in this series are fantastic, especially after the halfway point, once you really get to know them. They're all so great. And here are two of my favorite characters having a conversation. You got Krush on one end, you got Rem on the other. Now, Rem, I don't gotta explain, everybody loves Rem. I love Rem, you love Rem. I mean, Subaru loves Amelia, but he also loves Rem. Everybody likes Rem. I don't have to explain why Rem is great. But Krush, people sleep on Krush, and that kills me, because Krush is my best girl. Krush is not only my best girl, she's my top waifu. Krush is the best. Like, she's the absolute queen, as far as I'm concerned. So, seeing, like, Krush is toppest tier of the ReZero characters. Well, maybe not characters, but the ReZero girls. And I'm sure that's gonna ruffle some people's jimmies, but I don't really care. Needless to say, these two have such a good conversation. This, like, super sweet conversation about how, like, Subaru is Rem's hero, and how, like he told her to smile, Rem in turn says, like, you know, like, you should smile more too, Krush, like, and Krush says, like, I wish I could, but, like, I just, like, this adorable ass conversation, and it's so sweet, and I was like, damn it, like, as soon as they're having this nice conversation, I'm thinking, like, okay, the mere fact that Rem is here is telling me that whatever happened hasn't happened yet. Which also tells me this nice-ass conversation is gonna end, and as I'm having that thought, I'm like, this nice conversation is not gonna last the whole way, like, something bad's gonna happen. Wait a minute, Krush is here. Why is Krush here? What are you gonna do to Krush? I'm already trying to process my emotions that you're gonna do something to Rem. What's gonna happen to Krush? So I'm like, immediately like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And then the actual attack kicks off, and we have these two new characters, Cornelius and Lai. Cornelius, who I will be nicknaming Corny, because this man is corny. I like him, don't get mad. But this man Corny. This man Corny is the Archbishop of Greed, and Lai, who I don't have to give a nickname. Lai is a cool name. So, Lai, the Archbishop of Gluttony. Lai is gonna be important in a second, but, they're both obviously members of the Witches Cult, representing being two new archbishops that were being introduced to as the seven deadly sins archbishops, and they are going toe-to-toe with Krush and Rem. Listen, I'm recording this immediately after. I didn't even have time to do color psychology on these characters, mostly because my brain just was smushed into paste at what happens in this fight. And I will still do color psychology for these two at the end of the video. But needless to say, yeah, these two made an impression, all right. they definitely did. And I do think the color choice, specifically for Corny, I find very interesting. So I do want to talk about it, although I'm not quite as prepared as I normally would be to talk about character designs, mostly because I had to jump on mic to talk about this. The fight is so good. Like, it's brutal, but it's, like, there's this weird elegance to it, and I think that is in part due to the setting, right? Like, the aftermath of what happened, right? So Krush and Rem, like, jump out of the way of this big beam, and it, like, takes out the caravan. You're like, oh shit, what's going on? And it leaves, like, grass and dust and just parts of the caravan floating in the air, and it gives it this, like, really elegant scene. It feels like almost like a martial arts movie in a way, like, where, like, the leaves are floating in the wind in the midst of a fight. It felt like that. Like, it had an elegance to it, and I think in part that is due to the way that they set up the scene with, like, just the grass and other particles sort of floating in the breeze as they're having this standoff with Corny. And Corny is a man of true corniness. This man absolutely representing the whole greed thing, his whole archbishopry is very well suited to him, because this man is greedy as hell, trying to have, like, the brunt of the conversation. Now, don't get me wrong, I am JoJo talks too much, okay? Like, I know that I talk a lot, but this man Corny is corny. Like, this dude is trying to be the greedy center of attention, And this man like, Krush even says it, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little bit flattered because she was looking right at the screen when she said, you talk too much, and I'm like, oh, she's talking to me. No, but seriously though, like, this man do talk too much. Like, I recognize my own kind, and that dude talks too much. Like, I was right away like, this man corny is corny. But he's obviously, like, ultra strong. Like, the fact that he was able to, like, essentially disintegrate what we see as 3 separate wagons in one move, that's strong as hell. Like, that's impressive, even by ReZero standards. We know these characters are badass, but this man corny. He may be corny, but he tough as shit. And just when you think this is already gonna be tough, right? Like, this is gonna be a difficult fight, this dude Lai shows up. And Lai is, like, freaky as all hell. The Seiyu choice is excellent. The way that the weird, uncomfortable tone that they give to Lai is perfect. And hot damn, this man Kengo Kawanashi, like, the Seiyu, as I said, the Seiyu choice is fantastic. I admittedly did have to look up Kawanashi because I didn't write him down in my notes, which feels irregular for me. I usually do my homework going into each season, and for some reason I didn't write down Lai or the Seiyu. So I had to look up who it was, and I was thinking, like, damn, I don't even recognize this voice. Like, whoever this is, they're doing great. And Kawanashi is friggin' Gen from Dr. Stone. So I was like, oh, okay. That's you can hear the mischievous tone of voice, like, that's still there. The mischievousness is there, but man, Kawanashi bringing it as Lai. Like, Lai is there's like the mischievousness, yes, but he's also, like, bringing this level of, like, uncomfortability, this, like, sliminess to the character. And it suits him, like, as the representative of gluttony. It totally works. But so again, like, if you thought it was bad with just corny, now Lai shows up, and I'm thinking, like, they're screwed. Like, I don't know how they get out of this. I really don't. And then the worst thing happens. Then my girl Krush makes the attack, and corny retaliates by disarming my girl. And if you think that I meant that he knocks her sword away, no, I wish that's all that happened. No, he takes my girl's arm off, takes it off. Thank God Rem is there to, like, immediately try to heal the arm, but it doesn't look good. Like, this is bad. And so, like, I screamed. I wish I was doing a live reaction, because I screamed to the high heavens, like, not my girl! Like, oh no! Krush! I was so panicked. And, like, that's where I knew, like, okay, they took Krush's arm! Like, this is serious. Like, whatever is going on, this is bad. But in the back of my head, I'm like, well, at the very least, maybe Subaru can use his like, maybe Subaru can use Return by Death. Maybe he can fix this, I don't know. But either way, this is still bad. Like, this is bad. So I'm panicked, right? And then we get the fight where Rem is doing her best to stand her ground, and the animation in this fight is beautiful. It looks so dope, and Rem is doing her best to be like, no, I gotta fight. Like, eventually a hero is gonna show up, and he's gonna come and just get rid of you witches cult people, and he's gonna save the day, and I just gotta be here when he gets here, and that man is the man that I love. And I'm like, damn it, Rem, you're gonna make me cry. And this does not go her way. There's a scene that like, I had to pause the episode because I was like, wait, what was that? So obviously the fight doesn't go Rem's way, and getting a screenshot from this is gonna be a pain in the ass. But Rem sees for like a brief second a flash of re-if, which, if you don't know what that is, now you guys know me, and if you don't, again, hi. But if you've been on the channel for a while, you know that I'm not a big manga and light novel guy. I'd rather just wait for an anime. But I know what re-if is. So when I saw those flashes, I was like, damn. They really had to go there? You really had to do that, White Fox? That felt unnecessary. Like, that hurt my soul. I mean, it's necessary, but like, it's still hurt. Like, damn, the suffering is real. And Gluttony just, like, I thought he was going to eat her. He does not physically eat her. What he does is actually, in hindsight, kind of worse, which is brutal. But yeah, seeing the flash of Re-If, I had to mention it, because if I didn't, the comment section would have. So yes, I saw it. And I mean, like, when I say I had to pause this, I had to pause this bitch, like, several times, because so much flashes in an instant. And I do mean an instant. Like, it's real quick. It's like blink and you miss it. And it broke my heart seeing that, because it's like, this is all this girl wants. Like, it's all Rem wants. Damn it. Like, and it's... God damn it. Like, it's... I'm not gonna get emotional on mic, but I will admit, that screwed me up. And you know what made it worse? The aftermath. What happens in the aftermath of the caravan attack. And my God, we're so early in the episode. We have so much to go. This is gonna be a long one, folks. I'm sorry. I tried. The aftermath is nuts. Felix crying over Krush. And I'm like, now I'm panicked because I'm like, is Krush dead? What is going on? Like what the hell? And Subaru running through in an absolute panic. Like, and I'm talking like, this dude is distraught. Like, we've seen Subaru distraught before. This is as bad as any other time. Like, this is not good. And Subaru completely panicked, like trying to find Rem, like finding other blue-haired people and realizing that's not her. And he keeps trying to run around. And he's looking for them, and he bumps into Rem. He finally sees her, and the doctor tells him that she's not okay, and she won't wake up. And this man does what I was saying at the beginning during the fight, that I'm like, this man better return by death. That's the only way. And he finds a broken sword, and he kind of puts it to his neck. And if you're squeamish, watching this episode must have been uncomfortable, because yes, he does exactly what you think he does, but he doesn't like slice across. He like plunges that shit in. Thankfully, you don't see him plunge it in. They kind of cut away. And we do hear the bung, like that sound effect that I love. My God, the sound design. Jin Akutagawa on point. But yeah, like that sound effect is great. I love it. But yeah, he returns by death. And so you're thinking like, well, at the very least, like maybe like that was difficult to watch, but maybe we can save them. Psych. No, that's not what happens. When the return by death thing happens, I'm thinking like, okay, so we're going all the way back to the start of the white whale fight? That seems crazy, but here we go. Let's do this, Subaru. And no, Subaru ends up back in the caravan. Too late to do anything. That sucks. that sucks. That sucks. Like, that sucks. I do think that there was some change, though, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But this leads us into the first of two, what I'm going to be calling Sleeping Beauty scenes, and that is going to come up again later, too. But, yeah, we see Rem in the mansion, in Krush's abode, manor, whatever you want to call it, one of the spare rooms. Rem is just laying there. She's not responsive. She's still out. Amelia doesn't remember her. Most people don't remember Rem. Seemingly Subaru's the only one. I don't know what's up with that. A little weird. Like at the very least, it seems as though Subaru's the only one. Maybe that's not entirely the case. I don't know. Puck seemed to kind of indicate that he still has like a connection. So I don't know if that means that he's forgotten too, or that he does remember. I don't know. I feel dumb that I don't know, but I don't. What I do know is the writing is strong. Like the writing, like Tape, like this man, like, okay. When I was getting into the show, I had a very difficult time because I didn't understand why Subaru was doing the things he's doing, why Barusu was doing the things he was doing. Some of the characters irked me, some of the story decisions bothered me until I got to about the halfway point. And then I was like, oh, Tape's a genius. So that's the thing with the writing, is like you always, like with Tape and ReZero, I feel like patience is key. Patience is a virtue, my friend, and things will pay off. But the one thing that always remains, no matter what, is that the character dialogue, whether it's like the beginning of the show or here we are now, it's pinpoint, painfully perfect. And I had to write down what Subaru says because it broke me. And it's, what he says is, I tried to sound all brave, saying I'd die for you as many times as it would take to save you. But I guess no matter how many times I die, I'll never make it in time. And that is brutal because to me, this is like the first real time Subaru has had to accept reality that is put before him with no do-overs. Normally, the return by death was always there as like the last-ditch effort. Like, if you really want to change this, you could return by death. That's not gonna work this time. And that gave me chills when he said that, and I had that realization that like, oh, there is no do-overs this time. That was chilling. And it's a pitch perfect scene, like I said. Like, again, like Barusu was on a high at the end of season 1. I was just like, my man came full circle. I hated this character at the start of the show, and now I'm like, Subaru's my boy. Like, so he went from 0 to hero, and now this man feels like a 0 again. And it's nuts to me that at the start of the show, I hated this dude, and now that he's beating himself up in the premiere for season 2, I'm like, you shut your mouth, Subaru! You're a good kid! Like, you got this! You're a hero, damn it! And you're gonna work this out, and don't you goddamn worry! Like, my emotions are all messed up. And it's made all the more worse when Puck explains what gluttony does, like the power of gluttony, what Lai did to her. We'll get into it a little bit more when they're talking about the lounge thing. But he basically explains that he doesn't eat you physically, although I'm sure he would if he felt like it. But what Lai did was that he ate Rem's name and memories. So if you can eat somebody's memories, and people will still remember who they are, but they won't remember anything about anybody around them. But if you eat their name, it wipes out that person from everybody else, which is what happened to Rem. Except for Subaru, again, weird. I assume it has something to do with Return by Death and his connection to all this. But yeah, it's actually important to remember that, because once Subaru leaves, he bumps into Krush. My girl Krush. And again, remember how I said earlier that Tape's writing is like where you need to be like a Jedi. You gotta practice patience. Even if you dislike something, I guarantee you that shit's gonna pay off in a big bad way. So as Subaru walks out, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bit annoyed by this scene until I remembered, wait, it is ReZero. Patience is a virtue. It will pay off. Krush has forgotten everything. Krush has forgotten every goddamn thing. I thought it was just Subaru at first, but no, she's forgotten everybody. Forgotten everything, in fact. And how could you do that to my girl? Like, how could you do that to Best Girl? Thankfully, it paid off, like, almost immediately, because while you can erase the memories, the fire remains. Krush, everything I liked about Krush remains, but the memories are taken away. And it sucks, because Krush has some great moments that she now can't draw upon, and, like, she can't recall. Like, that whole conversation she has with Subaru, like, way back when, like, that's gone. The date thing, all the badass shit she did in season 1, that's gone to her. Like, we all remember it, and they all remember it, but she doesn't. Like, critically, she does not, and that hurt. Another weird thing, Krush has both her arms, so I guess when the Return by Death happened, like, maybe shit went down differently? I don't know, but why does she have both her arms? Am I missing something? Maybe Felix fixed that? I don't really know, but it was strange. Anyway, let's move on. Speaking of Felix, let's move to the lounge scene as we start to wrap this episode up, although I got a lot to talk about here. So, as I said, Krush has forgotten literally everybody. And this obviously, like I said, memory whammies are the worst. They're my least favorite trope. I hate, like, when a character's memory gets wiped. However, I think the way it's handled here is good. And I trust this man to write an excellent story at this point. I trust him. I will be patient with this story. So, even though I don't like this trope, I think it's going somewhere. So I'm okay with it. And I do think Felix handling this very well. And Felix explains that this whole thing is actually labeled, like what's going on with Rem, rather, is actually labeled as the Sleeping Beauty disease, which is hilarious to me. But now they know that this is obviously the work of the witch's cult. So if there was a character with Sleeping Beauty disease at any other point, it was probably due to the witch's cult. And obviously this is a big dilemma that they are now facing. Now Felix is the GOAT, you know, like I love Felix, but Felix in this is saying things that I disagree with, but again, it's Felix, they're the GOAT, so I'm okay with it. But Felix basically blames Amelia for the witch's cult's attack, and Felix is not wrong. You know, they're not wrong. But as Subaru points out, like, it's not like her fault specifically. Like, they attacked her. Don't be twisting things. Like, it's like they are still bad and need to be taken out regardless. So don't be hurling insults at my girl Amelia. And I'm like, yeah, Subaru, but like at the same time, Felix is kind of right. I think what Wilhelm says is more appropriate, that like, hey, there's a time and a place. This is not okay. And also, Wilhelm, old man Will is gonna come in clutch in a little bit. But what I love is that Krush, as I said, even though the memories are gone, the fire remains, and Krush puts Felix in their place, which I appreciate, by saying like, hey, you don't get to talk out of turn like that. And at the end of the day, you don't that was rude. What you just said was uncool. It might be true, but it's rude. Apologize. And god damn it, Krush, I love you. But then Felix hits us with another just absolute curveball. But again, it makes sense. That's the thing about the writing, is even though I'm like, why would you say that? As soon as I say, why would you say that? It makes sense given what's happened and who the characters are who are saying it. And with this, Felix says that they should disband the Alliance. And again, it sucks, but I understand, right? Felix is like, Krush is Felix's world. So obviously they're gonna be upset when they find out that, don't even talk about the fact that Krush's arm got cut off in a separate timeline, but the fact that Krush's memories are gone, obviously Felix is gonna be upset by that and views Amelia and Subaru as the reason for what's going on. So of course Felix is gonna want to disband the Alliance. I disagree. I think the Alliance is key right now, and Old Man Will seems to agree with me, as well as everybody else, including most crucially Krush. But yeah, it makes sense why Felix is saying this. But Krush refuses to back down, and again, memories might be gone, but the fire remains. And goddamn, the writing in that scene is so strong. When Felix breaks down, it's you get it. You understand why Felix is feeling that way. But the fact that Krush is listen, I might not be at my best right now, and you guys might need to take care of me from time to time, and I might be a hassle for you, but I'm not leaving. We are gonna fix this. We're gonna solve this. We're gonna take these guys down together. Yes, Krush, best girl. And even Old Man Will, goddamn, Old Man Will is the best. Wilhelm saying no, we gotta stick with them because we're getting some revenge. And I'm like, yes, let's do this. Oh, so good, such a good scene. But that leads us into the final scene of the episode. The final thing I'm gonna talk about. Again, sorry for talking your ear off, my God. But Amelia checking in on Subaru and Rem, concerned for both of them. It's too adorable. Amelia is too good in this episode. That whole let me carry the burden with you bit, that's so adorable. She's great. There is no I hate this Rem is best girl. No, Amelia best girl. I think in fairness that has died down in recent times. But they're all best girl. All the girls in ReZero are great. So that whole let me carry that burden with you scene, it's so good. And then that followed by the can you turn around bit, can you turn around, I'm gonna cry. Subaru breaking down, every time this man breaks down, I'm normally god damn, this is painful. But this time in particular, it was less this is painful and more yeah man, we're gonna fix this. I was just we're gonna fix her. You're gonna fix this, Subaru. You're gonna be the hero she needs, damn it. She needs a hero. She's holding out for a hero to the morning light. And it's gotta be Subaru. and he's gotta be fresh from the fight. But yeah. Also, quick side note from this scene. First of all, I love that she holds him. But also, just a little subtle note, and I feel like this is maybe White Fox hinting at the pain that is to come. But when Amelia says everything will be all right, that's the only time in that conversation where she's not looking him directly in the eye. When she says everything will be all right, she looks away. And I was like, that's not a good sign. This is gonna be painful. But it's gonna hurt so good, you know, like, oof, that hurts so good. And that is what I think is gonna be going on with ReZero Season 2. Now that said, if you can't hear the paper sounds, I am flipping to my color psychology section of my notes. My friends, this video has gone on too long, so if you want to dip out, I understand. But for those of you who enjoy yourself some color psychology with me and investigating some character design, admittedly, this one's gonna be a little bit weak because I hadn't really had time to really analyze these designs, but I still want to do it anyway because it's fun, damn it, and I said earlier in the video that I would, and people would make fun of me in the comments if I just forgot about it, so we're gonna talk about the character designs for Corny and Lai. Now, in fairness, there's not actually too much color going on in these designs, so I don't have as much to say, so this will be relatively quick. Let's actually start with Corny, since Corny's the one that I find the most interesting. So Corny's design is almost entirely like white. It's almost completely white. There is, most importantly, a yellow trim along his like overcoat thing. Now yellow is an interesting color, right? Yellow typically is like a happy color. It's almost always associated with happiness, right? When you think of a smiley face or like an emoji or something, like a big smiley face, what's the color of it? It's almost always like a yellow smiley face, right? So typically, it's almost always associated with happiness, but most importantly, it can also be associated with caution. like yellow is like when you think of street signs, they're usually yellow, right? Like there's some shade of yellow to red. Like they're one of those signs. Like they're one of those colors, like yellow and red. Sometimes orange as well. But yellow is often associated with that sort of like caution, heads up, like giving you like a quick warning. So there's like the subtlety of the fact that there's yellow in that design, whereas the rest of him seems sort of soft and is all white. That's interesting. It could also denote some level of cowardice, but from what I saw, he doesn't really seem cowardly, although it can also indicate egotism, which like, yeah, that fits. The white is what's interesting to me. Like the fact that it's all white, like his hair's white, the clothes are all white, like everything like head to toe is white. Every piece of clothing this dude has is mostly white. And I don't know what that could represent, because white is so often associated with like purity and like it's like purity and innocence and hope. So what is it doing on this fool? Like, I don't know. My best guess is that it's meant to represent Corny's coldness, because when you think of white, right? Like when you think of like a hospital room, it's all white. The doctors are almost always wearing all white, and a hospital room always feels cold. Like the sterileness of it always feels empty and cold. So that could be what it's trying to get at. What they're trying to get at with this character is that like there's this like you should be cautious around this character. They're very cold and unfeeling. They have a big ego, but they don't feel much for other people, which does make sense. They are the Archbishop of Greed after all. And then there's our crazy boy Lai. Now Lai, as I look at it, is an odd design, isn't it? The long hair, the crazy sharp teeth, everything about it, everything about Lai is interesting. Now, the cloak, as far as I can tell, is like mostly black with red. Lai is almost all black, red, and purple of all things. Now, the black cloak is pretty clear, right? Like black typically associated with the unknown. 9 times out of 10, it's also associated with fear. You should fear Lai. The dude is absolutely terrifying. The red obviously could be associated with danger, not that far of a stretch. Also aggression, desire, showing Lai's interest in like gluttony, you know, makes sense. That I get. The black and red I get. The purple stands out to me. Like the purple jumpsuit thing. That's interesting. Because purple is almost always associated with royalty. Purple was a color that was often only worn by royalty way back when. So that's interesting to me, but I feel as though it could represent more of a sort of like a mysterious element, since again, like purple is, as I said, often associated with royalty, but there's also this sort of like mystery that comes with purple, and that could also be in part due to the black cloak that he wears as well. Like they could be trying to weave together a mystery surrounding this character. Purple does sort of bring that, like, oh, purple, interesting choice. So I do wonder, like, again, as I said, I don't really have a solid idea what the purple jumpsuit is meant to represent. I'm not always hitting with these, you know what I mean? Like, I don't always be hitting with the color psychology. Sometimes, unfortunately, I just don't know. So I don't know what they were thinking with purple. I have to guess that it is supposed to represent a subtle mystery to the character. But beyond that, I'm not too sure. That one, I will ask you guys. What do you think the purple in the man's jumpsuit is supposed to represent? Let me know in the comments. But with that said, dear God, I talked too much this time. I can't help it. These videos keep getting longer and longer, and I'm trying to shorten them down. But here we are. With that said, everybody, ladies and gents, that has been today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then don't forget to boop that up snoot and share if you care. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, for crying out loud, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to reach 25K before the end of the year. I feel like we can do it, but I'm gonna need your help. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I'll be talking about ReZero all the way through. And I'll also be talking about a lot of other seasonal anime, so if you want to stick around to see some of that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're like been here for a while and you haven't hit that subscribe button, you're breaking my heart. But thankfully, I have the lovely members of the T Squadron to fix my broken heart. Look at these beautiful people, look at these beautiful names who have definitely hit that subscribe button. If you would like to join these beautiful people, then be sure to check out that first link in the description and check out our Patreon page. And for less than a cup of coffee a month, you can help keep this channel afloat, and I would sincerely appreciate that. But with that said, everybody, I have to go calm down because I'm still honestly very hype. I have to relax. But until next time, you stay classy, AniTube, and wash your dang hands.